Like a perspective. Well, hello, and welcome to the Lockhart Perspective. I am your hostess, Felicia Lockhart. I want to welcome each and every one of you here, and I also want to welcome Sunday Dinner's cook, the chef, none other than Ronnie Mann. Welcome, sir. We've got your scriptures up, and how are you doing?
I'm all right. It's good to be here at the Lockhart Perspective, like always. Yeah, just definitely not the chef of this Sunday dinner, but I'm the server. We know who cooked it up already. The Most
There
High
you
Yah
go.
cooked it up,
There you
but
go.
we're gonna be delivering it and serving it in a righteous manner.
Excellent. Well, I hope I spelled everything right. Nomers. It just doesn't look right. Misnomers. But anyway, anything that needs to be edited out, get it on the back end. I want to welcome everybody again. We're going to get right into Sunday dinner. We're only going to be with you for about an hour this evening because I know tomorrow is the day you got to get up and start your week. Well, today should have been, I guess. I don't know. But in any case, I digress. Ronnie, man, we've got Luke 11, and today we're talking about prayer, the misnomers, misconceptions, what it is, and how to do it, how not to do it. What did he mean? What didn't he mean? Who started it? You feel me? Let's go right into it.
Okay. Just a brief synopsis. Um, when we talk about prayer, we're talking about the English version of what we call prayer, but it's really a misconception because when you look at the original dialect, the original language, there's a whole bunch of words. There's at least 3 to 4, maybe 5 different words that describe what we collectively call in the English as prayer. Um, so we have to dissect exactly what these words entail so we can begin to communicate with our creator in a proper and righteous fashion. We've been misguided in a lot of or via a lot of the translations, um, you know, by way of the English. So going back to the original language, we can definitely dissect and pull apart what's what, and we can more accurately be able to communicate with the Most High. So what does it say in Luke 11? Jumping right in.
So Luke 11 says, and it came to pass. Is that the verse you want to start at verse 1?
Yeah, let's do that, and let's go to like maybe 5 or 6.
Okay, no worries at all. I want to thank you, Diane Britson. Thank you so much for that $5. And I appreciate you for that love offering. You are awesome. Thank you. So we're going to get right into Luke 11. 1 says, and it came to pass that as he was praying in a certain place, when he ceased, one of his disciples said unto him, Lord, teach us how to pray, as John taught his disciples. And he said unto them, when you pray, say, Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, as in heaven, so in on earth. So in earth. So we know I say that differently, but anyway, I digress. Give us day by day our daily bread. Oh, this is a different version altogether. Okay. Give us, you don't flip me up. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil.
Okay, let's stop right there. This right here is a blueprint on how to quote unquote pray. So this isn't, you don't have to be verbatim per se, but this is the directive. This is the blueprint on how to pray. Like, first of all, give him the honor that he deserves when you're uh speaking to
Okay.
the omnipotent
Okay.
most high, the all powerful one. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be your name. Like, give him his props, give him his due, his credit where credit is due. And of course, first and foremost, this whole entire book is about preparation for the kingdom. So as soon as you give him the honor and the praise, and that he rightfully deserves and that is his, you jump right in with hey, we're kingdom minded, let's go. Let me hone in on what your will is for the kingdom, and let me fine tune that, so we can, so we can jumpstart this thing here on earth as it
Mm-hmm.
is in heaven.
Mm-hmm.
Give us this day our daily bread. You're asking for supplication. You're like, look, we are workers in the field. So, being workers in the field with your kingdom coming, get me in line with your will. And then in verse 3, also give me what I need
That's
to be able
right.
to accomplish this goal. Give me my
Amen.
daily bread. Give me, my
Our sustenance.
all of that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But before we can even venture off into that lane, we have to forgive others so we can be forgiven. It is vital.
Hallelujah.
It is vital. You cannot expect, if you're your characteristic, your mindset, your is one of holding a grudge. I
Mm-hmm.
promise you're gonna have to die to yourself yesterday.
Mm.
You gotta let go of the grudges. You have to forgive your brother.
That's
You have to
important.
forgive. You have to forgive if you expect to be forgiven.
Mm.
It's a trade-off. It's a trade-off because he's gonna ask you questions. He's gonna be like, so you want me to forgive you of all of this stuff that you've done, but you can't even forgive your brother over some petty stuff that happened 20, 30 years ago, or what
Mm.
have you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
I
it's
do.
vital in order for us to get into a righteous lane of proper perspective. We're
Mm-hmm.
going to have to wash our slate clean, and by washing our slate clean, we have to wash the slate clean
Mm.
that we've written out for others.
Wow. Wow.
So
Wow, that's heavy. That's
it
that's
is
sweet. That's actually sweet, but it is reciprocal. It's like one, not one hand washes the other, but it's definitely the whole process of sowing and reaping is what you sound like you're describing.
absolutely. And the thing about it is, in order to put that into a proper perspective, in order to execute it properly,
Mm-hmm.
with justice and with all righteousness, you have to be taught this. In verse 1, it says, it came to pass as he was praying, when he ceased, one of the disciples said, teach us how to pray, just as John taught his disciples to pray. We can't come in here just assuming that we know how to pray. Who taught you how to pray? Who taught you how to pray? Who actually
Mm-hmm.
broke it down and said, we're going to step by step, line by line, precept by precept, here a little, there a little. We're going to figure out exactly how to properly pray, that Yah hears our prayers and acknowledges us. Like, who taught us that? And then, if you know the answer to who taught you that, ask yourself who that person was and what side was he really working for. Yeah, I mean, like, was he in truth, or was he deceived? In all earnest, like, he could have been wholehearted about it, but like, was he living in a deception? We have to really, really, really uh, figure out what's what, because we have to be pinpoint accurate. In the English, sin talks about being a miss. You have to hit the target.
Yes.
You have to hit the
Yes.
target spot on. So if you're not hitting it spot on, you are a miss.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So we have to figure out, we have to be taught. And the who is our teacher?
The Paraclete.
Exactly, the paraclete,
Ruach. Ruach.
the
Yeah.
set apart spirit is our teacher.
Mm-hmm.
So he gives us clues, in this encoded um biblical narrative. He gives us clues on exactly how to approach the throne room of the Most High, and we have to be pinpoint accurate in order to get our prayers and petitions and our intercessions heard,
Mm-hmm.
much
Mm-hmm.
less answered.
Mm-hmm. That's sweet. Because it's constantly having that to learn about. You know what I mean? It's like constantly having things. So in other words, you never learn everything, but you're constantly learning, and you should be applying the things that you've learned. In short.
Absolutely. If you're not
Okay.
applying, what's the point? Like,
Mm-hmm.
application is the goal. Or execution and application. Why, basically, why are you learning any of this if you're not going to actually apply it?
But you know what? I mean, a lot of times in times past, I think everybody can think about that. A point where we were all maybe going into our churches or our respective places of worship, and it just felt good. And sometimes I think there's a lot of people that can honestly say they've been guilty. I know at one point or another, whether I was busy or raising children or something. But even though I was always in ministry at one form or another, I know that there were times where even though I knew how to study, I sort of leaned on the pastors sometimes. And I think there's a
Right.
lot of people who just go to church sometimes and, excuse me, take their notes. But, maybe they don't always reflect back on the notes, or maybe they don't even question, what they were taught, is what I mean. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. But see, that's a prime example of always learning, but
And
never
never.
able to come into the knowledge of
Yes.
truth.
Yes. Ever learning. That's why. That's right. That's right. So constantly take. It's like being pregnant and never giving birth. It's like you're always taking this knowledge in. You took the knowledge in. Now you're holding on to it, but now it's time to give it out. So it's one of two things. It's time to take the knowledge in, study it for ourselves. Once we hear it, we have to prove everything by the word, right?
Hmm.
And then
Hmm.
after that, once it becomes rhema or real down in our soul, down inside of us, now it's time to either share it with others or teach others how to share it.
Right. Or like eating Sunday dinner and just waxing fat off of it, never actually going out to execute the precepts that we've learned, and
Yes.
distributing, the energy that we've accumulated from the Most High via the set apart spirit, and then distributing it properly out. And instead, we're just getting fat. We're just sitting back and getting unhealthy. So yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow.
So
That's
but
funny you should say that.
oh yeah, we got to step our game up in every facet.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
as far as this praying goes, this quote unquote praying goes, we really have to break apart the conflation. We've just balled it up and lumped it up into one thing, but the
Hmm.
scriptures blatantly shows us that there are certain aspects to what we collectively call quote unquote prayer. And once we figure these out, we can we'll be able to hone in on actually having power. Like why how come I'm praying all these things and nothing's happening? Like I feel
Hmm.
powerless, but he promised us that we're supposed to have all this power and we're supposed to be even great, do greater things. What's going on? The thing is, we're praying amiss. James 4:3 tells you that you ask but you don't receive
Hmm.
because you're doing it wrong. You
Hmm.
have the wrong motives.
Hmm.
You have the wrong motives and you're praying amiss.
Wow. Yeah.
So when we go back to Luke 11, right, it
Okay.
says that we have to pray for the kingdom to come on earth as it is in heaven.
Hmm.
So the kingdom doesn't, like, whatever's going on right here on earth is a tainted version. Like, we have to pray for the kingdom to come on earth exactly the way it is in heaven.
Wow. And we say that all the time. I think all of us remember learning this passage. And that's the reason why looking at this version, it seems so, so unique to me because I had learned King James Version. Obviously, this is a different version. But yeah, we all learned that. And it's like it'll just ring. And all of a sudden, there'll be like this light bulb above your head. You're like, wait a minute. Hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Now we know that that got a little flipped around because there's a lot of, as above, so below type of stuff, but they tainted it. But with that, I think it's important to note that, yeah, we've heard that, but think about that. We're supposed to be praying. Let me make sure I understand you. We're supposed to be requesting or entreating our Father to ask Him to have things be as they are there, here, right here. So let me ask you a question. If we believe that we receive the things that we pray for, like the word tells us, and everybody just started to do this, do you think by some chance things just might start to turn around. I'm just going to throw that out there and let you take it from there. I'm sorry.
If we did what you just brought about, if what you just said out your mouth, if we
Come on
all
now.
collectively did that, I promise you, all of these prophecies would be filled by the morning, and by
Okay.
tomorrow, um, tomorrow the kingdom will. Our affliction will be over.
Come on, let's. Hey, I'm the one to do it. We're going to have to get us
So
a
there's a
channel and start.
So
Go ahead to
there's a
get us
voice
a.
in the wilderness that is calling out and crying out to get us to move in the direction of the set apart spirit. The spirit is constantly moving, and it's moving towards the the future. It's
Yes,
moving in the
yes,
direction of the kingdom. And we can
yes.
see it coming to a close. So we have to get on the right trail. We have to get on the right path in
Mm.
order to correctly walk it out. So if you go over to Daniel, I'm sorry, it's the next slide, Daniel 9.
Sure,
I
I
want
can
to
get
say.
that.
So if you go over there, like this is an quote unquote Old Testament uh,
Goodness.
example
Okay, Old
of
Testament example.
and you see in some places where Daniel is called the wisest the wisest man ever, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
and we know that Solomon was the wisest king ever, but we see in places where in a place where it says Daniel is, who's more wise than Daniel, you know what I mean? So this is a wise dude, and
Mm-hmm.
he tells you, um he's breaking it down in Daniel 9:3. You want to read it?
Sure, I'll go ahead and read that. I'd be happy to. So, oh wow. So it looks like we got a lot going on here on this one you gave
9:3.
me.
Just pick. Just it
Oh,
doesn't
just
matter.
pick any version. Excellent. So I set my face unto the Lord God to seek by prayer and supplication with fasting and sackcloth and ashes.
Okay, so there's a couple of things here. It says I'll read the NIV. It says I turned to the Lord God and pleaded with Him in prayer and petition and fasting, sackcloth and ashes. Another version says prayer and fasting. Another version says prayer and pleas for mercy. Another version says prayer and petitions. Another version says prayer and supplications.
Mm-hmm.
So you see a division between prayer and supplication in this particular example, in this particular quote unquote Old Testament example. We're not going to dive into this. I just want to show you that there are different facets. It's not a lump definition. Like
Right.
these are separate things that
Right.
we are supposed to be able to not only identify but be able to accurately do.
So basically, without us doing, literally, without us doing the verb of it all, without us really doing the word, we're not ever going to see the changes or the desires and the things that we know we should not see. We're not going to ever see those things eradicated because we're not doing the full picture.
Exactly, because why? We're hitting a miss.
Okay.
So you're never going to I don't know, like the piñata, like you keep on hitting it, but if you don't hit it in the right spot, it's not gonna break. All the goodness isn't gonna come out. You're just gonna keep hitting and hitting and hitting. If you're hitting that, if you're an archer and you're trying to hit the bullseye, like you have to hit the bullseye in order for it to manifest. You can hit
Mm.
all around it and almost doesn't count.
Mm. Wow. Almost doesn't count. Wow. That's heavy because if you think about it, it's like all of us collectively know, one portion or another portion. But it's like if we look at that and we just say, all right, I get it. It's not just the prayer. It's not just the supplication. It's not just, I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's not just the fasting. It's all of these things. And it's also repeating his word back to him and believing and standing on the word. So it's like, this is how you make this cake. This cake called success. This is what you got to put in the pot or in the bowl to make this cake. And if you're not putting that in the bowl, don't expect that to come out the stove. Primarily, that's what you're saying. And I like to cook, so of course I have to put it in those terms.
That's a good analogy.
So
That
we're
is a
not
good
gonna get what
analogy.
we're looking for if we're not putting it in
Right.
the work.
So I mean, you have a wish sandwich. You just wishing, it's not coming out the way it's supposed to. You just
Beating the
wishing that it
pinata
did.
up, all the confetti falling off of it, but no candy. I
Right.
didn't get no M&Ms.
Right. Nothing sweet is coming out of it. So you go to Mark 9. Um
We're
if
coming up on our first break. And I know that Mark 9 is going to be juicy. So I think what I'm going to do is just go ahead and put Mark 9 up, and then we're going to go on ahead and take the first break. Is that okay with you?
Absolutely.
Okay, so that way we can give Mark 9 all of the attention that he needs. All right, so I just want to take a moment to say hello and welcome to everybody. We've got some goodness going on here tonight. Of course, we have our first young lady that came in this evening and became a member is none other than Diane Britson. I want to thank you and welcome you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I hope that you will enjoy yourself here. We do have members only chat, members only lives. We also have some things that we put up, like videos that are right now in the members only tab that you can take advantage of. And you can't get them, you can't share them because, well, you got to be a member. But you, Diane, you get to see them. So I want to thank you for supporting this channel. MGB, shalom, good people. How are ya? Welcome, welcome. I'm so happy to see you, Mama Ray. Welcome. I'm loving these little thumbnails. I'm loving them. I'm loving them. Hell 1978. So good to see you and welcome. Sister Leaf Desi, how are things going? How is everything? Good to see you hugging the ones I love so much tighter. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's the way it's got to be. Vicky, welcome. Good evening to you. DJ Vision Barnett, good evening. My husband and I crack up laughing at your inboxes that you sent. We be cracking up. You're like, hello, hello. So, hello, DJ Vision Barnett. It's so good to see you this evening. And Leaf Desi, love you all. Heavy days feeling like I need, and we need everybody, we all need each other. It is so important that we remember that we all need each other. And I'm so happy that we had the opportunity to dedicate this channel specifically to prayer, to reading the word, to uplifting each other, to giving you, videos and things that have stuff to do with things that lift us up just as a whole, to keep us encouraged and built up on our most holy faith. So it's important for us to do that. And I'm glad that we're able to facilitate what you got going on, Sister Leaf Desi. Elle says she gives you love, prayers, Leaf Desi. You see that? That's sweet. Be blessed. Good evening, everyone. How are you? It's so good to see you. Good evening. All right, so looks like Marty Lauderdale is in the house, y'all. Get down and have a party. What's going on, Marty Lauderdale? It's good to see you. I'm glad. Well, that looks like that's our break, and I'm going to go ahead and pass it back over to Mr. Ronnie. But we just wanted to take that quick break to welcome everybody, tell you we love you, and we're so happy to see each and every one of you here. And I hope that you're getting something from this tonight. If you are, please share it, because I'm sure that somebody else would like to hear the word, and maybe they don't know where to go like you do. You know what I mean? They don't know where to go in the Bible like you might. They might not. So pass it along. We would surely appreciate it. Well, Ronnie, I have Mark 9 up on the screen. Yeah. Where do you want me to go, my brother?
Scroll down to Mark 9 and 29. Yeah, shout out to the best chat in the land.
Yes.
And a super shout out to Sanya.
Oh, Sanya is here. Hello, Sanya. How are you, sis? It's good to see you. Good to see you. Look at Marty Lauderdale just grinning. I'm so lucky. Thank you all. We all love you. And you know what? That's one thing I love about our chat is that they all love on each other. And it's all good. It's all good. So we've got it up now. And it's on 29.
Read 29 really quick.
Okay. And he said unto them, this kind come forth by nothing but prayer and fasting. Now, us old heads, this kind cometh not out but by prayer and fasting for the old heads.
So check this out. So it says that that whatever's going on, it can't be done except for through prayer and fasting. So what's happening here? It's a little child that's trying, or somebody is inflicted with a dumb spirit, and this dumb spirit, they're saying that it's a dumb spirit. He tells you later that it's a deaf and dumb spirit. So he's pinpointing accurately what that spirit actually is. And his disciples, I'm talking about Yahweh disciples, they were trying to alleviate this child of that deaf and dumb spirit, and and they couldn't do it. And they were like, what's going on? How come we can't do this? And he answered and said, look, I'm trying to tell you, some things just can't be done except through prayer and fasting. And then he went ahead and did what he had to do, and then rid the boy of, the spirit or what have you. So okay, that's just the background really quick. But we just learned in Luke 11, that first slide, when we talked about it, he already taught them how to pray. He already taught them how to pray. They asked him, they were like, hey, how do you pray? And he was like, he gave them what we call the quote unquote Lord's Prayer. He gave them that rundown. So he already taught them how to pray. Now he's telling them, look, some things can't be done except through prayer and fasting. So click on 29, if you will, Miss Felicia.
The verse
The
29 again?
actual, yeah, the actual verse, that the blue where it says 29, click on,
Oh, okay.
yeah, click
Sure.
on that. And then we're going to go into we're going to go, not the interlinear. Yeah, let's go into the interlinear. So go up where it says interlin in the black. Okay, let's read what it says in the Greek. So we just read it. It says some things, I'm paraphrasing, but it says some things can't be done except through prayer and fasting, correct?
Correct.
Okay, scroll down to where you can see the fullness of it. No, 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 go, no. Just the fullness of the verse, right? A little bit more, right there, right there. Okay, so it says, and he said, and I'm reading in the red, but you also can see the original language, or, you know,
The
it's written,
Greek.
yeah, the Greek.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so you can see it in the Greek, and in the red is the English. It says, and he said to them, this kind by nothing is able to go out if not by prayer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I just want to hone in on a vital fact that we all have to recognize. The English just told you that he said prayer and fasting. The language that it's written in does not even mention fasting at all.
Wow, I just noticed that. Huh.
I want you to pay attention. You cannot rely on the English alone. The English is like a summation, a very, very wide, rounded, broad summation of what the specifics of the original language is trying to convey. So we really have to hone in on that concept, and we have to dig in a little further. Even with light digging, we can see that something is amiss in and of itself as far as the linguistics, as far as the translations are concerned. So
Mm-hmm.
this tells you right here that some things aren't done except through prayer,
Mm.
not prayer and fasting,
Hmm.
but through prayer. But we just seen in Luke 11 that he has already taught his people how to pray.
That's right.
So why is so how so if he already taught them how to pray, how come they're not being able to have this power to cast out demons and things like that?
Mm-hmm.
Because the words in the English, it's just a huge clump of words that just, and all of these words just mean prayer in the English, but they mean, the specific words mean certain things, and we have to figure out what's going on. So let's click
Wow.
on 4335, and this is the word for prayer, what he's talking about.
Okay.
Prosuke.
Prosuke. Prosuke. I see it.
Okay. So what is it? It is, for lack of another, it is a
Right down
wish.
here. Right in
It's like,
here. A usage. Okay, so original, I see that part of speech, noun, feminine, and then it breaks down the transliteration, the phonetic spelling, prosuke, definition, prayer, usage, prayer to God, be a place for prayer, used by Jews, perhaps was there no was No synagogue. There was no synagogue. Oh, so this is like your closet if there's no synagogue.
Okay, so what's going on though is you see the cognate, right?
Yes.
Prosue. That's where the
Yes.
word comes from. Pursue. But anyway, um, towards an exchange, a wish, a prayer. Focus on it's an exchange. It's an
Ah,
exchange.
quid pro
So
quo.
so go down to the NAS exhaustive concordance, and this is the original word from where it derives. You see it? It says prosukomoi,
Yeah, I see that.
komai.
I see
Okay,
that.
prosukomai. When you click on that, it tells you what it is. Look at the
Okay.
help word. Look at the helps word study.
Okay,
You see
I
the
see
help
it.
word study.
Yeah.
Okay, let's read it collectively. It says to wish or to pray,
Pray
to properly
properly to
to
exchange
exchange wishes,
wishes,
literally to interact with
act
the
with the
Lord by
Lord by
switching
switching
human
human wishes,
wishes for
ideas
His
for his
wishes.
wishes. As he
Okay,
imparts faith accordingly.
so let's
Praying.
focus on that,
Wow.
or let's not
Wow.
focus on that, but let's hold that concept and let's
Okay.
move on.
Can you read it again because I was reading it with you and I know people wonder what I just said with you.
Oh, I thought it was awesome actually, but
You
okay,
did? Okay,
yeah.
okay, okay, good, good. We'll go ahead and print it and run it. I'll be the Supremes.
We got the background. We got the
I don't got the
background.
background.
All right, but yes, ma'am. Though literally to interact with the Lord by switching human wishes for His wishes as He imparts faith. Accordingly, praying is closely interconnected with pistis, which is faith, but it's closely. It's not the actual word, but it's closely related to what the actual word comprises of. The connotation is an exchange of wishes. So let's keep that in the background of our mind real quick as we go into First Timothy.
Okay, First Timothy it is.
Okay, so this is your boy Paul.
Okay. Oh.
This is
Okay.
this is your main man Paul.
Okay. One
And
of my good friends don't like him too much, but it's okay. I got it. Okay, come on. I got it.
well,
Paul,
you're
I'm
you're in,
here.
you're in First Samuel. So
Oh, oops.
yeah, go
You
back to the First
said
Timothy.
Timothy. Yikes. Okay, here we go.
That's fine. That's fine.
Watch this. Watch this. Watch this. Watch this. There we are.
Okay, so let's just hone in on First Timothy because it has a nice grouping of what the word what we collectively call prayer. It says, and I'll just read right here in the New International Version. It says, I urge then, first of all, that petitions, prayers, intercession, and thanksgiving be made for all people. Okay, we can just leave it right here. We just dissected what we collectively call prayers, and we just dissected it into four groups: petitions, prayers, intercessions, and thanksgiving. But we in the English call all these things prayers. But dissecting it into four parts, we see that prayer is one part in and of itself.
Correct.
Okay, so
Correct.
so when we pray, we're in the English, we're collectively praying, but or we have a misnomer for the word prayer, and we just lump it into this one thing as far as communicating um our, I don't know, hopes, wishes, desires, or whatever
Mm-hmm.
to our creator. But in actuality, there there's specific ways to communicate with the most high, and this is an excellent place where we can look. It says petitions, prayers, intercession, and thanksgiving. So go to the interlinear and let's hone in on what these words mean.
Got it.
Okay, it says, I exhort thee, therefore, first of all, to be made entreaties.
Wow. I see that.
All right, so hold on. Okay. Let's read it all. Entreaties, prayers,
Prayers and
intersections,
sessions
thanksgivings on behalf of
behalf of
all
all
men.
men. Mm-hmm.
All right, so look at entreaties.
Okay.
That's where I think we said petitions or what have you. So
So hit
it's
1162.
1162 is going to tell you what the word means. It's entreaty, and it is the word diesis, and it is an entreaty. It is a um, It literally means that you are in want of something, that you are lacking something, and
A need. I see
you're
that.
calling it out. You're saying, "Look, I need such and such, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
need my daily bread."
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're not
Mm-hmm.
asking for it.
Mm-hmm.
You're proclaiming, "Look, I need some daily bread." You haven't asked
Mm-hmm.
for it yet. You're just proclaiming the fact that you need, and that is an entreaty. So when you look at the actual definition of entreaty, it is an earnest. It's you're basically pleading, like, "Look,
Mm-hmm.
do you see my need? Look at me. I am in want right now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I see.
Like, I'm
Okay.
lacking." So
Okay.
that is what the New International Version calls a petition.
Right.
Okay, so it's like a two-part thing. First, you're calling it out and acknowledging that you're in need of something, and then you're continuing to ask for that need to be met for
Mm-hmm.
yourself.
Mm-hmm.
For yourself, that is a petition.
Okay.
So, okay, so go back.
All
I hope
right.
everybody's with me.
Yeah. Yeah. I hope everyone's enjoying it. I hope. Are you guys enjoying this? I know that I am.
I'm
I
getting
like it when you
somewhere.
teach. I love that. Okay, so let me ask you, do you want me to go back where we just were?
Yes, yes, please go
Okay.
back to where we just were.
Okay.
So look, I'm getting somewhere specifically.
Okay. Can you
It's
see
got.
this? Is this where you want to be?
I'm sorry, I can't see
Back
it,
on
but
First Timothy 2?
sure. So
Okay.
the next one, let's skip over prayers because we just touched on it, and we're gonna hone in on that
Okay.
to end it out. But no, scroll back up right there. Right afterwards, it says intercessions, which is 1783.
Okay. Alrighty. 1783. Got it.
Into euxis. So what this word means is hitting the mark.
Wow.
So when you petition, you can't petition unless you are pinpoint accurate with what you have going.
Mm, mm, mm,
Like, you
mm.
can't even begin to ask.
Wow. Hits the mark. I see that. Wow.
You can't
Proper.
begin
Mm,
to even begin to ask unless you are worthy of him answer. Like, he's not going to answer. He's not going to fulfill that need unless you have already shown yourself worthy. Now, how do we do that? That's a whole other thing. I mean, first of all, you have to repent of where you are. Then you have to proverbially wash yourself clean, and
mm-hmm.
in the metaphorical sense, that entails being washed in the blood and things like that. But that's a whole other topic. It's interconnected, but that's something, that that's not what we're trying to attack here. But you have to be worthy of even beginning to ask in a petition type of inquiry.
So under 1783, just so that everybody, because you may not be able to see it here, it says properly intervention. And then in quotes, it has intersection, which literally hits the mark. Intervention led by Yah, led by God, marking intersection between heaven and earth as it reflects to the Lord's or to Yahweh's specific will, just so that you guys, because you may not be able to see that. So that even brings it even that much closer, right up in our face. Wouldn't you say,
Right.
Ronnie?
Yeah, absolutely. And then it continues to tell you that the root of it is, that this is the root word of it, which means to strike or to hit the bullseye spot on.
Yes, I see that. Accordingly, it is used in classical Greek as the antonym of, is that harmedia? To miss the mark, sin. So that's the antonym, obviously the opposite. Got it.
Right, exactly. So if you're not doing this,
Then you're missing
inadvertently
the
you're
mark.
in sin.
Yeah, yeah,
Inadvertently you're in sin, and
yeah.
it parallels with James when he tells you that when you ask, you receive not because you ask
Praying
amiss.
amiss. Okay. Ah, okay,
And he
okay.
already taught us how to properly pray, which is you have to line yourself up with his will. You cannot, his will be done. His will is
Ooh.
going to be done, not your will, and hoping that he bends to you. Don't He doesn't bend to you, you bend to him.
Okay. That's the reason why we have to be contrite and broken. Because without a broken vessel, without being a yielded vessel, there is no way that he's going to move on your behalf. Why? Because just like a parent, when a parent has a child and the kid is saying, well, I need this fixed. So the mom or dad goes, okay, baby, pass it to me. And the kid keeps holding on to it. Well, no. And they keep fumbling with it and fumbling with it. And you're like, okay, well, I tell you what, whenever you're done, I will go on ahead and help you. Well, then once they relent, once they then give up and allow the parent to step in and do it, now they put their hands down to the side. The parent's able to step in and to help them. It's pretty much the same thing. It's what it's looking like. It's like, okay, right now I know that I need you and I can't do this on my own. I just
Right.
can't. And it's going to have to be your will. I wanted it my way, and my way got me in a lot of trouble. And because my way got me in a lot of trouble, I'm just going to have to acquiesce to your will and your way and submit. I surrender all to you.
Exactly. And then when you are honing in on righteousness, then all things will be added unto you. And you won't have to ask. I mean, this is kind of a juvenile example or whatever, but you're sitting here asking for that $1 million, and you were never supposed to get that $1 million. Like that's your lust and fantasy or desire, or something on the lines of that. And
Yeah,
maybe you'll do something good with it. I'm not saying that you won't, but what I mean is that was not Yah's will for you.
right. Not that
However,
particular
his,
situation. Yeah.
his will for you is to seek first the kingdom and his righteousness.
And
That
all the other
that's
stuff.
his will for you. Now, once you are worthy of the cause, then he knows that you're going to be a worthy servant who will rightfully distribute and be a good steward over that quote unquote $1 million that you keep on asking for.
Right, right.
Not to say that you'll get it, but I mean, just that's the concept of we're praying amiss, and we have to hone in on the priorities of seeking first the kingdom, and
Absolutely.
because it's his kingdom.
Wow.
We're servants in his kingdom, and in the same notion, we're sons in his kingdom. So we do the business of the Father to
Wow.
perpetuate the kingdom, not perpetuate this world.
This is really good. I hope that everybody is enjoying it. I know that I am. We're going to take our one of our final breaks for the night. We're a couple of minutes behind because it got so good. Just to be honest with you, I'm just like, I know that once we get into just learning the word and just get into fellowshipping and talking, the Father sort of turns on light bulb moments for each and every one of us while we're being taught. So while I'm listening, even though all of us have at one point or another, like we always say, we've got the best chat on the planet. They're just the most learned co-laborers that you could possibly have. So, but I'm thinking every time we chat, I'm getting something new all the time. So I want to say hey to a couple of folks that just came. Anthony Van Zant, how's it going, brother? How are you? Evening, yes, nice, nice. Here, here. Good sister friend, you Fifi, you. And good brother Ronnie in the Word and TLP community family crew. Take that, Google Monsters and Lucy too. Dipstick and faith as an action word. I'm frightening myself because I've learned how to read his writing. I love you so much. It's so good to see you, brother. It is so good to see you. Good, good, good. So let's see who else we have here. You know what? I'm loving the love that everybody's giving Leaf Desi tonight. Thank you for loving on our sister. You guys, we never know. I mean, tonight we loving on her. She's checking out some information so that she can help a family member tonight. So I want you guys to remember her tonight when you all lay your head down and you intercede for your family. Go ahead and do us a big favor. Everybody's name that you can remember here, would you throw their name in there as well? Would you go on ahead and toss them in and just lift them up and encourage them? Because we need to do this more and more every single day. I want to welcome everybody who is just tuning in to prayer. Misnomers and misconceptions. What it is, what it isn't. And what we're talking about tonight is some good stuff because we're learning the foundations of prayer. We're learning where it came from. And as much as we always like to say, well, I'm going to pray for you, I'm going to pray for that person, it's good to understand that we're asking for the Father's will to be done here in this earth realm. This is good stuff. We about, let's see, 21:44. So we got about 16 more minutes before we are going to close this out. But I think that, gee whiz, Ronnie, every time we have Sunday dinner, it seems to me like an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours is never long enough. Sometimes we end up going 3 hours. So I'm going to hush. Somebody's calling my name right now and let you go ahead and do your thing. Go ahead and pick up where we left off.
Well, we see that these things are categorized. Like they're definitely in lanes of their own, and we lump them all into or in the English we lump them all into the word prayer. That's not necessarily the case.
Wait, I'm sorry. You know how corny I am. I gotta interrupt. Janice, hi. Okay, go. Hi, Janice. Okay, go.
So when we look at the next word, what is it? Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving. So go ahead and if yeah, go back to the verse. It tells you that there's Thanksgiving, which is Strong's 2169. Strong's H2169 tells you that that is the word actually where we get in the Roman we get the word Eucharist from. It's giving of thanks. It's Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
so Thanksgiving is what we would consider in the English a form of prayer, but really prayer is in a category all by itself called prayer. Thanksgiving is thanksgiving. It's a form of communication unto the Most High. Thanksgiving, we see tons of it, example after example of it in Psalms, in the book of the Psalms would
Oh,
be a
yeah.
good example of giving thanks. And
Yeah.
I guess we can elaborate on that, but we understand what thanks is. Thank
Yeah,
you for
no.
this. Thank you for
Yes.
thank you for the daily bread. Thank
Yes.
you for hearing my
Yes.
petitions. Thank you for hearing,
Hallelujah.
you know, um,
Yes.
things of that
Yes.
nature. So it's a whole lot of just gratefulness and gratitude and appreciation to your Most High Elohim.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Mm.
So that in and of itself, I would like to say it speaks for itself, and I'm going to assume that it
Shalom.
speaks for itself.
Shalom, Aaron Jacobs. Shalom. Wow, that is, oh, this is so good. You know, I think that for me, sometimes I can just get into thankfulness and it's amazing how I could just start to begin to thank him. You know, just thank him, thank him, thank him. I mean, you begin to think about everything in your personal life that you have to thank him for, and you begin to say it out of your mouth. I don't know about you guys, but it supercharges me. It's amazing that once you just get into that place and just, Father, I just thank you for everything. I thank you for waking me up. I just want to let you know you are awesome. And I thank you for being in my life. I thank you for bringing my children home, or my husband home, or, whatever it is that you have been really thinking about, or even not thinking about, but you just want to thank him for who he is. It's amazing the power and how the room becomes, you will change the actual atmosphere. Do you know, do you ever feel that, Ronnie? By just beginning to have a thankful moment. I don't know, but for me, it just changes the entire atmosphere.
It does, and it is a vital component in communication with your Elohim. It's the same thing, like you, when you uplift your significant other, or your friend, or your loved one, your brethren. It's a good thing, and you think not that our Elohim doesn't want that from us as well. So constantly lifting him up and giving him the honor that he so rightfully deserves, that is his
Hmm.
anyway. We're just giving it back to him. We're exalting him and lifting him high.
You know what? I just want to have a quick praise moment, because there was the other moment I woke up, the other morning I woke up, and the first thing that was on my mind was this thing that had not been taken care of. And I was just laying there, and I looked up at the ceiling and I just said, well, you know what's best. I literally said that. And within like maybe 10 minutes of waking up, it was satisfied. And all I remember was tears just rolling down the side of my face, because I said to myself when I went to bed, I was like, okay, well, I guess it'll get taken care of. And, I don't know how it'll get taken care of, but I know you know. That's what I said. I know you know. Then the next morning, got up and just looked around the house, looked around the room, and I looked up at the ceiling, and then one thing transpired, one thing led to another, and then I got information and confirmation of something that was so helpful. It wasn't gigantic, but it was a blessing, and it took care of the need. And then all I could think about was I just told him, thank you. You are so outstanding. How you do things that no one else can understand. It's like just keep it quiet, keep it to yourself, certain things, and just ask him and then begin to thank him. And when I tell you that thing was fixed, I said, wow, you are outstanding. And it just automatically put me in a place of thanksgiving. It just put me, I was already thankful, even though I went to bed the night before without that specific need being met. But when I woke up and he met, I was already like, wow, you are so amazing. I mean, he just amazes me more and more and more and more and more. I don't know how anybody could not have him. How could you not want to serve him? I don't understand it. But anyway, let me be quiet because we'll have praise and testimony in a minute, and you need to be on the drums, and somebody needs to be on the rhythm, and somebody on the lead guitar, and the tambourine, of course. Go ahead, Ronnie. That was actually a good one, whether you laugh or not. I don't care who you are. That was funny.
And I can't get no help now. Boy.
Whoo.
Okay. No. So but we get the idea. Relatively or collectively, I would like to say that we get the idea of what thankfulness is. And if not, we definitely need to understand the capacity of what thankfulness is and what it entails, and we need to grab hold of it and execute it, because what these little compartments are, categories are, this is our arsenal.
Wow.
It's our arsenal on how to execute the will of the Most High here on earth. And how to do it with power, with dunamis. Exactly.
Yes.
We have to be able to execute this. He said, "Greater things than these will we do." So I mean, people have a form of godliness but deny its power. People are sitting here praying, and it's of ill effect. There's no it's of no consequence. You're just praying and wasting breath. Like, we have to use these intricately, vitally. We have to use these and not be amiss. We have to execute it spot on.
We also have to have we have to have a brokenness about us. I said that earlier, but it's also like a circumcised heart. We have to really, truly, want this in our heart. We have to change and make the corrections that we need, because if not, we're just using the lip service. We're not putting in the true work. And see, the funny thing is that we expect for the Father to do certain things just because we think we're doing it the right way. But if in our heart we have that shadow of darkness that you were talking about earlier, if we have that unforgiveness in our heart, if we have that deceit in our heart, if we have the hatred in our heart, if we're hiding the secret sins that we don't think He knows, or that we know others don't know, but He don't know, if we have all of those things that need to be rooted out and tossed out, do not think it's strange that your prayers do not get answered, because the only person that we are fooling is ourselves. That's it. We're not fooling Him. And so when we don't see our prayers getting answered, it's really time for us to take some real true, if we really care, if we're really being serious, we need to look at ourselves and we need to examine our hearts. We need to go back and apologize. We need to go back and get things right with other people. We need to make sure that we don't hold no malice. We need to make sure that when we are praying, if we ain't got some stuff right, that we begin to pray for the enemy that's around us. You know what I'm saying? Somebody's done you wrong and all you can think of is, I just can't stand them. That boss of mine, oh, they were just terrible. I guarantee you, the one that fired you When you're on your new job, you just begin to ask the Father to bless that person and help them. Help them. Help them because they obviously need help. You begin to pray and you begin to show the love that the Father gives you. It is not easy. Trust me and believe me. I have been led and made to pray for somebody who treated me so poorly and did me so wrong after all I did was good. And let me tell you, the most difficult thing in the world to do was to lift that person up every single day. The first few times I did it, it was hard. But what helped get the rest of my prayers through was that I continued to do it every day. And I wanted to do it. And I wanted to learn how to do it. And I really began to want to see that person and their family and their finances taken care of. And I wanted no harm to come to them. And you know what? The Father did the rest of the work. What am I saying? What I'm saying is what Ronnie said at the very top is absolutely right. We get ourselves right. We do the self-examination. We do the work. And then we do what his word tells us to do. It doesn't make any sense for you to know what the word says to do if you're not really worried about checking that heart. Because if you got a heart condition, there's no way on the planet you're going to be able to put in that work and see anything come from him. I guarantee you the only thing that you will live in is the residual blessing. You won't get the whole thing. Somebody next to you might get it, and because he got grace, he gonna let a little bit drop on you, but you ain't gonna get the whole thing. If you get anything at all and your mind is telling you that I can still be mean and nasty and rude and crude and ugly and I still get blessed, really sis, really brother, I don't think so, because what you're feeling is just a teeny tiny drip. What's your allotment may be a whole lot more than you could ever imagine. How about check your heart, get your life right, throw away what all that nastiness is you have inside of you that somebody else told you was right. Throw all of that in the garbage can. Put it out of your way. Put it out of your mind. What does so easily beset you? Throw it out. What's keeping you from reaching the full potential that the Father has for you that you know you're supposed to be walking in? What is it? Set it aside. Lay aside each and every weight and measure that would easily beset you, and so that you can run this race with patience, learn how to live for him. Learn how to truly love his people. And then and only then will you be able to receive the blessings from the prayers and the petitions that you have been putting up. Like he said, according to the book of James 4:3, you don't want to be praying in a miss. You don't want that. You don't want that, having a form of godliness and denying the power thereof. Let me tell you, the time is short, and it's too short. The time is too short to be playing games. Brother, if you still out there running in them streets, you better get it together. Sister, if you still out there running in the streets, you better get it together. Time is winding up. Go ahead, Ronnie.
Yeah, it's vital. It definitely is vital. This is the arsenal, and what we've established thus far is that we have to be taught on how to properly pray, and a lump, just a lump understanding of what the status quo has given us is not going to suffice. We have to really, really dig in and sink our teeth into the meat of the matter and come to a conclusion that we do not have. We're not up to par. We're not up to speed as far as how being pleasing to the Most High and being in His will. And we have to dig in, study to show ourselves approved unto our Elohim, seek His face, and really, hone in on how to get this power and get things done for the kingdom. So we've established what? We've established that there is a petition and or a supplication in the category of what we collectively call prayer, but that's not prayer. That's specifically supplication. That's specifically what it is. It's a form of communication to your Elohim called a petition or a supplication, and that is when what we figure out what we lack, where we lack, what we lack. We call it out, and we ask for it to be fulfilled. Intercession, how come we're not getting these things done that we're praying for? Hey, pray for me that, I don't know.
My dog Skippy comes home.
Okay, okay, something, yes, or even somebody else asks for help, a prayer for their health or something, and how come it's not coming to pass? That intercession is not coming to pass because when you look at that word, it actually talks about hitting the mark. You have to be on point. You have to know you're not praying when you're intercessing. What you're doing is intercessing.
You're standing in the gap.
Right. So you have to know the difference. It can't be a blurred line. It can't be fuzzy lines. You have to specifically know what you are specifically doing. You have to know the job and know how to execute it properly. And you're not going to have the power if you're not in the will. How do you get in the will? You have to seek his face. You have to seek first the kingdom. Seek first the kingdom. Seek first
Mm.
the kingdom and his righteousness. It goes hand in hand. Righteousness and kingdom go hand in hand. You're never going to gain the kingdom if you don't have righteousness. If you don't have
Hallelujah.
righteousness, you're never going to gain the kingdom.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Okay, so that intercession, when you're quote unquote standing in that gap and you have no power, it's because you're executing it wrongly.
Wow.
Don't worry about all this and that and the other. Seek his face, seek his righteousness. Get in accordance to his will. Then your shadow will heal people. You don't even have to speak. Your shadow is gonna come up in here and heal somebody.
You hear that, Salita Myers? Your shadow. Hallelujah. That's deep. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Keep going. Go, go, go.
Okay, so we know that the Thanksgiving. So here's another uh what some more ammo in the arsenal or what have you is the Thanksgiving. And of course you got to give all praise to the most high at all times. So that is extremely vital. The last portion is really the big guns.
Here we come
What
with the
what
bazooka, baby.
and this is the big guns, and I would submit that this is your last resort. You need to be doing all these other things before you even consider breaking out the big guns. So when you say, oh, I'm gonna pray for you, nah, you don't really be you really do not need to be praying for people. You need to maybe throw out some petitions. You might even feel like you are in a place where you can intercede, but really, as far as the word and the meaning and the actual what the word specifically entails, you do not need to be praying for people just uh nonchalantly, willy-nilly. You
Okay,
know,
be
yeah.
serious about this. So how do we become serious without doing willy nilly? What do we do?
Well, let's find out what prayer means.
Okay.
And we touched on it when we were talking about when we went to I want to
The,
say we were in Daniel.
yes.
Okay, so
Yes.
let's hone in on what we touched on.
Okay.
Okay, so when it
Number
says
one.
prayers, right, that's
Mm-hmm.
4335. That's Strong's number H4335. Are you there?
No, but I can get there. I gotta go
Okay.
back to
Yeah,
get there.
just go
Yeah.
back. Go back. This
43, 45. Got it.
okay, so this is the major gun in the arsenal.
43, 45. Okay, hold on.
Oh,
I
I'm
did
sorry. No,
43,
no, 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 no,
35.
no, no, no. I misspoke. I apologize. 4335.
Gotcha.
Strong's H 4335. I'm sorry. Did I say H? Oh, goodness.
It's all
Pardon me.
good.
Pardon me. This is
I'm
Strong's
here.
G. This is Strong's G. This is Strong's G, and I'm gonna say it again. Strong's G 4335. I apologize, everybody.
No worries. We got you.
Okay, so Strong's G 4335 is the word where we get into the English the word prayer. What this is an exchange of wishes.
Right? We said that. Okay.
Please
Okay.
understand, this
Okay.
is not a petition.
Okay. It's what we would like. It's a wish. Gotcha. Okay.
Listen, this is not a petition. A petition is calling out your want and requesting it, calling out your where you lack and requesting it. That's a petition. This is not a thanksgiving. A thanksgiving is giving all praise where
That's
credit is
right.
due.
That's
This
right.
this is not an intercession where you're standing in the gap for somebody. This is an exchange. When you pray, you exchanging wills. My will for
Ooh.
your will. This is really, when I say the big guns, we have to consider what we're getting into. Listen closely. This is basically you and your creator sitting down at the table and negotiating. Hey, listen,
Wow.
listen closely. I will give you such and such if you give me such and such.
A wish. An exchange
And
of
it's an
wishes.
exchange.
Oh, I get it now. It just hit me. Properly exchange of wishes. Wow.
He wants you to do something. He knows that he can get. Listen,
OMG. Even Marty just said it. Ronnie really lit a bulb for me. I've had occasions when I was really in the right place of prayer and it was so powerful, I was kind of exhausted afterwards. So here when I'm reading this exchange of wishes, his will, and I'm going to lay down the will that I have that's been incorrect. I'm going to lay this down. I'm going to lay this down at your feet. This is what I know I got to get rid of. And this is what I need from you. I'm going to lay this down at your feet. I'm going to lay this hatred. I'm going to lay this malice. I'm going to lay this unkindness. I'm laying all of these evil, wicked things down just so that I can have more of you. And I don't ever want that to come back, but I'm going to lay this down. I'm going to exchange my will for yours. Not my will, but yours. Be done. Wow. Man.
And it goes even deeper than that.
It sure does. Come on, take us
Be-
on with it.
because this is what's going on. When if you're exchanging, Yah is not a man that he should lie. He sure enough is going to do whatever it is that he has put his hands. If he said that he's going to do it, rest assured that it is going to be done. So what you have just done is you have obligated yourself.
To lay that thing down. Wow.
When you pray, he expects the recipient in return. Okay, you are coming to me in an exchange. Okay, I'm going to give you what you told me to. What you asked of me, but I explicitly expect you to give me what you told me that you was going to give me, and you better show up and put it on the table, at the proper time. Like if you renege on this, you are in peril.
So the prayer then, Roy just says, pre-adventure, there are 50, 40, 30, 10, and quotes, negotiating with God. Huh. Wow. And you know what? So really, when I pray, I'm praying for me. When
You
I
are
say
praying.
prayer, I'm
Listen,
praying for me and I'm interceding for you.
I want you to pull up, please, please, please. We're venturing off just a touch, but we're not.
Okay.
Pull up Proverbs 22:26,
Okay,
please.
I can do
And
that.
and this
Yeah.
is why I'm telling you to do. You just said when I pray, I'm praying for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pull it up so everybody can read along.
All right. Proverbs. Say it again.
22 and 26.
Okay, I'm just going to go in anywhere so that I can get over there. Okay,
Okay.
Proverbs
Okay.
22 and 36.
No, 26. 22 and 26. Please.
Got it.
And read it.
22 and
And we're going here because you just said that when you pray, you are praying for you. You're praying for yourself. When
Yeah.
when yourself is
I
praying,
get it.
you are praying for yourself.
Okay.
Read.
Okay. All right, let me get over here in the let me leave that Hebrew alone. I was about to tap the Hebrew like I'm like like I'm Ronnie Man and Roy. Right. Okay, let me get over here. 22 and 10 you said, correct?
No, 22, 26.
I was
22,
double checking
26.
you. I was double checking you.
Well, I've been saying, H70, all kinds of.
22, 26.
We check each other.
Okay. All right. So here I am. And of course, I've got to go to King James. Um, Be not thou one in italics of them that strike hands, or in italics of them that are sureties for debts.
Okay, so did you read the King James?
Yeah.
Okay, let's just read a couple versions. It says, "Do not be one of those who shake hands in a pledge, one of those who is in a surety for debts." Another one says, "Do not be one who pledges or puts up a security for debts." The New International Version says, "Do not be one who shakes hands in pledges or puts up security for debts." Do not be. Do not obligate yourself to pay somebody else's debt.
Oh, wow. Oh, light bulb moment, Marty Lauderdale, for me too. Oh, wow. So I'm going to intercede for you. I'll stand in the gap, but I'm not. Oh, boy.
I cannot pray for
I
you.
cannot pray for you. I
If
can
I pray for you,
pray for
look,
me.
look, look, look. So if I pray for you
Oh,
and you don't show and prove, I'm going to be accountable.
wow. Wow. So here in Proverbs 17:18, a man lacking judgment strikes hands in pledge and puts up security for his neighbor.
And judgment is synonymous with righteousness. We have to understand the words that we are vowing, the things that we are saying
Wow.
out our mouth hold merit, and every idle word we will be accounted for. I mean, we will be held accounted to.
Mm. Wow.
So it is vital that we know. So when some, can you pray for me? No, actually I can't. But let's talk about it, and maybe there can be an intercession that needs to be taken, that needs to take place, or I can petition on your behalf, but I show enough. I'm
Sure
not going.
enough.
I'm not. I cannot do that. I cannot do that. If I'm a wise man, I will not do that. I'm not. What I'm going to
So
do
then,
is
okay,
I'm praying
go.
for me. I'm praying for me. I'm
So then,
praying
do
for
we teach the other person how to? Do we take them through this walk and show them how? If
That's what
we're
we're doing
capable of doing
now.
it? If we're
He's
capable of
just
doing it?
pray. Just as John taught his, have to be how to accurately, specifically do this. We can't just assume that we've been taught correctly. We have to uncover, we have to pull back the veil, and we have to learn what these words are actually implying, because we are obligated to the words that we say. At our words hold weight, and he is going to require these things of us on that day.
Wow.
So I'm
Wow.
so when it says okay, so go to First Sam. I think that we've established a nice chunky idea of what in the English the word prayer entails. So let's go to First Samuel, and we're gonna break down. Go to First Samuel 1 and 9.
Okay. Okay. No, Rusty, we are, but the way that so wow, but whoa, it's so much to explain. Wow. So we intercede for others. You know how we say, I'll be standing in the gap for you. I'm going to intercede for you. You can't pray for anyone but yourself because,
Um, I'm
go
sorry.
ahead. No, go.
I'm not going to say you can't pray for anybody but yourself, but you don't need, like, I'll show you exactly who you can and can't pray for
Okay. Where am I going?
Using
First
First
Samuel.
Samuel
Okay.
as a what guideline.
Okay. Let me go to First Samuel. First Samuel what?
First Samuel 1. I'm sorry. It's the very last slide that I sent to you.
Oh, okay. So let me grab that. There we go. First Samuel 1. Hold on.
And go to the just pull up First Samuel 1.
I got you. I'm here already. Let me just make sure because you're at 1:9 is what I see.
Right, but I think I want to read 9, 10, and 11.
Okay. Is it going to be there when I get here? 9, 10, 11? Yeah, I think it is. Okay, there's First Samuel 1:9.
Okay, I'm going to read 10 and 11 if you don't mind.
No, I don't mind at all. Let me pull up. There's 10, and then here's 10. Okay, then I'll click over to 11 when you're ready.
Oh, I'm not going to read the interlinear. I was just going to read the I guess it's the King James, but let me go ahead and just do it. instead of
Okay,
talking
go
about it.
ahead.
Verse 10, 1 Samuel chapter 1 and verse 10, it says, and she was in bitterness of soul and prayed unto the Lord and wept sore. And she vowed a vow. She vowed a vow. And she vowed a vow and said, O Lord of hosts, if thou indeed look on the affliction of thine handmaid and remember me and not forget thine handmaid, but wilt give unto thine handmaid a man child, then I will give him unto the Lord all the days of his life, and there shall be no razor come upon his head. She just made an exchange with the Most High.
And
She just
we're
made
in First Samuel's 9, 10, and 11.
Yeah, so what's the backdrop? This is Hannah. Hannah was childless. Hannah was childless. She wanted a child. People around her had some kids. She wanted a child, and she wept bitterly to her Elohim. It says right here, she was in the temple of Yah. So her Elohim is Yah, and she wept bitterly to him, and was like, "Look, I don't have a child. I want a child. Um, let's do this. Let's sit at the negotiation table. You give me a child. I will in turn give him right back to you." And they shook hands on it, and it went down. Uh, she
Mm-hmm.
she held up her end of the bargain, and
Correct.
of course we know Yah's going to hold up his end of the bargain.
That's
But
right.
she held up her end of the bargain. This is a good thing. This is how this transaction works. This is a transaction.
That's right.
Prayer is a transaction, and you better hold up your end of the bargain. So this is the end of the judges in Yasharal, in the nation of Yasharal. This is the end of that judge era, and she inadvertently had the premier uh,
Mm-hmm.
Nasir. She the prophet. She ended up having the premier prophet in the nation of Yasharal, which was Samuel. Samuel uh, anointed the king, the first king, the second king also. Well, maybe that was Nathan. Nonetheless, he ushered in the kingship into the nation of Yasharal. Samuel did this,
Okay.
and Samuel was Hannah's son. She
Mm-hmm.
was childless, and she did
Mm-hmm.
this interact. She did this transaction with the Most High,
Okay.
and had, and she gave him back, and then he became the premier prophet in the nation. So it's an exchange.
So for clarification, because I was everywhere that you weren't, we're at First Samuel 1, and we are looking at starting at verse 10. We started at verse 10, and we quoted verse 9 originally. So Hannah rose up after they had eaten in Shiloh, and after they had drunk. Now Eli the priest sat up. That is the first verse we talked about, but we went right in to verse 10. Am I correct in that? Because I want to make sure people taking their notes at home have it right.
We
Because I
went
was jacking stuff up.
we went from verse 10 and went right into verse 11, and
Okay, okay, okay.
just
Yeah,
honed in on that. But the
okay.
backdrop is Hannah was childless. Hannah actually is Kana, which means the root of that is Canaan, which means gift. So
Mm-hmm.
her word is the noun form of Canaan in the Hebrew, Chana, which means gift. She is the gift. This whole thing is a story, is a metaphor for the gift that Yah gives you if you make this transit, make this exchange. But it is between you and him. You not, don't bring anybody else to the table, because you can't rely on them holding up their end of the bargain. But if you contritely come to your Father in heaven, you know that you will hold up your end of the bargain. So there's
Mm-hmm.
a so you know that you won't renege on that transaction.
Correct. Correct.
I hope I'm making sense, but
Yeah,
this
you
is
are.
vital. This is clutch learning. This is clutch information on how to attack the spiritual realm accurately, in order to gain the kingdom, in order to be powerful in gaining the will on earth. I hope this is making sense.
Yeah, it's making sense. Take your time, relax, and do your thing. Yeah, it's making sense. I think the problem for me when you first brought this to me several months ago and we started talking about it, it sort of went over in my head because for me, full transparency, after going to Bible college, after graduating, after sitting under, people like, Jackson and Dr. Price and all of the heavyweights that I sat under, Pastor Crawford, just big people in quote unquote Christendom, for which I'm not a quote unquote Christian because I understand in the totality. But after sitting there all those years and loving our Father the way that I did, I just sort of had it in my mind that my understanding was accurate because of the limited amount of time they spent teaching on this. This right here wasn't taught. What was taught for me, you know what I'm saying? And let me make sure that I let everybody understand. I'm not saying that I don't believe in Yeshua. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is I am not a Catholic. Okay? I do not follow Rome. I do not follow any of that stuff for me personally. All right? But while I was inside the church and while I was listening and while I was learning, I always understood the different types of quote prayer. Well, you got this kind, you got that kind, but nobody ever broke it down. So when you presented this to me, it sort of threw me off because it was like, I couldn't get it. But tonight, explaining it, I personally am going to have to get in there and read even more because I remember all of the scriptures that we're talking about tonight where it talks about the surety and all this other stuff. This is heavy because it is clutch time. Right now it's clutch time. Now is the time for us to really get this. And I love what, Marty was saying. Marty was like, she sounded like, hey, I wasn't going to get up till I got my answer. That's basically how Marty is. That's what my interpretation of what Marty is saying. She said, when I say God spoke to me, it was not, she says, when I say God spoke to me, it was not verbal. It was a conversation without his verbal words, but it flowed so smooth. I would speak, God answer, would reply immediately in my head. And you know what? A lot of times for a lot of us, it can be like that. But this right here, when you just gave me the example of Hannah's prayer, it was personal. It was her praying for herself. Do you see what I'm saying? It was her. Right. Does make sense. So I would intercede for, Bob the Builder. I'll intercede and I'll let him know, you know what, Bob, I hear what you're saying, man, and I'm going to definitely intercede that things will go well for you. And I'm going to intercede. But when it comes to the way we're talking about prayer, this prayer, 1 Samuel 1, verse 10 and on, this describes exactly what the example is that Ronnie is giving us. That is a prayer for oneself.
So there's a if-then paradigm here. If you do this, I will do this. Or if I do this, I'm asking you to do this. There's a if and there's a then.
So it's a quid pro quo. This
it's a transaction.
That.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
You give me this and I will give you that. It's an exchange of wishes. I know that he wants me to do his will. So what aspect of his will? Hey, I will execute with every bit of my being precisely this particular part of your will if you give me such and such and such and such, or vice versa, something to that in that arrangement. But it's a if then negotiation. That's the type of paradigm it is. It's like you said, quid pro quo. So when we're doing this, I'm literally saying this is a last resort artillery. You don't use this. You don't pull out the big guns immediately. You just seek his face and his in his righteousness and all these things will be added. Wow. But push come to shove and we're in a, I don't know, quote unquote rock in a hard place. This is when the big guns come out and you're like, look, I need this, and I promise you I vow unto you I will execute this with precision because I know you're going to require this of me, and we're going to shake hands at it on it at the negotiation table. So this is a huge deal. This is a big deal. And you're not just going to do this about any decision. You're just not going to, my dog leg is broke, and you're not going to pray for that. You might intercede.
No, it's not. It's not testing. It's not testing, y'all, Rachel. It's not testing him. What we're saying is, when I go and I say, like what Hannah did here, Hannah was like, you know what? This is what I'm going to do. And I promise. So here is what it is. It's not testing Yah. What it is it's saying it's better for you not to make a vow than to make one and break it. That's what it's saying.
That's
And when
absolutely
you
right.
sit down to say, Father, I am going to give up X, Y, or Z in my life. Oh, I just need this, this, and this to be replaced. She was praying for a child. So I am going to do this. I vow that I will, like if you're praying for a husband or, your baby, for example, you know what? I'm going to dedicate this child to you. I will lead
That's
him.
correct.
I will lead him and I will guide him if you just let me conceive a child. I vow to you that I pray to you that I will do everything that you have required of me. I vow this, and I tell you now that if you will let me have a child, I will give him back to you. I will raise him up with the precepts and the concept of your word. Please let it be done.
Well, this is an exchange. This is a contract. So
Yeah.
so when you say everything, I will do everything. No, you have to be specific, because if you say everything, he's going to require you to do everything,
Right.
and you're not in a position to actually do that. 'Cause
Well, I will do what is required.
I will do a specific thing.
For this. Okay, got it. So you see what we're saying, Rachel? That's pretty much. Do you see what we're saying there? It's not we're testing him. We basically you testing you. Because he can't never be tested. It's like, okay, so you said you was going to raise him and he's a drunkard. He was actually drinking at 4. No, just joking. You said you were going to raise him the correct way. And look at him. Look what you're doing, or look at what you didn't do, or you just had the baby, but I don't see you putting in the work. I don't see him, praying. I don't see him interceding. I don't see him reading my word. So it's not as deep it's deep, but it ain't so deep that we cannot understand what is required of us when we ask Yah something in the form of a prayer. It is a difference. Just as when we understood prayer back in the day for somebody else, meaning different types of prayer, this is now getting you to that graduation, understanding what it is and what it's not. What it is and what it's not. We're not saying you don't intercede for your sisters and brothers. We're not saying that you do not lift them up, that you don't exhort them, that you don't help them. What we're saying is, if you're going to go to bat and say, hey, remembering, understanding what prayer is, just what we just got through seeing a few seconds ago with the other scripture. What it's saying is, if you go and you make a surety for somebody, you better watch it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't make a surety for somebody. So don't go praying for somebody, because when you're praying, you're making a surety. You can only be assured for yourself, and you can only do that 50% of the time if you're not walking right. So I hope that it's not confusing people. I hope people aren't taking away from this that we're saying do not pray. What we're saying is first understand what the word pray means in context of the word.
In context
Of the word. What I'm saying is, when I tell you guys, hey, you know what? I'm not going to say I'm going to pray for you anymore, but I'm going to say I'm lifting you up. I'm standing in the gap for you. I sure am. Rachel Van Ziel, I'm standing in the gap that all of them crazy people that be on your front porch that you don't want running around in your neighborhood when you were talking, when you first came in here, I'm going to intercede.
Right.
Father, move on her behalf.
So
in
the English, that's not a prayer. That's an intercession.
It's an intercession. I'm interceding for her. And there's nothing wrong with me interceding. Why? Because I cannot pray for her the way that Hannah prayed, and the way that we just learned to study to show ourselves approved, the way we just learned what the word prayer is. I cannot do that for Rachel. I can intercede and stand in the gap the same way that Miriam had one hand and Aaron had another hand, and they both lifted up Moshe's hands. They were standing there with him. They were lifting him up. They were helping him. Where he didn't have the strength, they were helping him. But they did not do what Hannah just did when she said to Yah, give me the baby. And she vowed a vow and said, O Lord of hosts, if thou wilt indeed look upon the affliction of thine handmaiden, and remember me, and not forget thine handmaiden, but wilt give unto thine handmaiden a man child, then I will give him unto the Lord all the days of his life, and there shall be no razor come upon his head. If you look upon me, if you look upon the affliction of thine handmaiden, if you remember me, and if you not forget thine handmaiden, but will give unto thine handmaiden a child, then I will give him unto the Lord. If then,
If
if
then,
then, if then, that is a prayer. I'm hearing a feedback. I'm not sure. Maybe it's my phone. I may have my cell phone on. But if and when is what that is. So when I intercede for you, Rachel, I'm going to intercede for you, that the Most High will have those people apprehended and you won't have to deal with that anymore. And let his perfect will be done in that situation. Let his will be done in that situation. I'd rather say that with now the understanding that I have than to continuously walk in error. However, please do not believe anything that you hear, but rather go and study the word for yourself. Do not believe me. Do not believe Ronnie. Do not believe Bob the Builder. Do not believe Tom Selleck. Do not believe Sally Struthers. Don't believe nobody. But rather take these notes, take the video, get the scriptures, sit down, you and Ruach HaKodesh. Study to show thyself approved. Nobody else. You study. And you make him pleased by your studying. Does that make sense? We're going to get ready to close, but does that make sense?
that makes excellent sense.
Yeah. So it's like, hey, you know what? We're throwing it all out here. We're putting it all in the middle of the bullpen. If we were all together in one building, we would all be sitting here, at different tables together, or maybe in one big room together, and we'd all be throwing these things out. We'd be able to talk one to another. We'd be able to share these thoughts and these ideas together. You'd be able to ask a question. We'd be able to answer. I'd be able to ask questions. Ronnie would be able to answer. We'll be bouncing off different things, and different scriptures will be popping into each one of our heads as we're sitting here talking to each other. And the Father would intervene, and he would, through the Ruach HaKodesh, teach us. And so while we are together, where there are two or more gathered together in my name, there I am in the midst. And so I am believing that because that is the case, you will take what you need and you will take this and study. You are responsible for it now because now you heard it. Sorry. Sorry, not sorry. Okay? All right? So pretty much that is what we're saying. So for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. And I will deal with my learning based on what the Father gives me, and I'll be responsible for me. You be responsible for you. Okay? All right. So, Aaron, we see you're about to leave. Blessings to you. King BJ, hello. How are you? It's so good to see you. And Melinda Ann, Ronnie says, a promise is a sacred trust. Yes. Help, no promises made in return. Help, no promises made in return is from Rachel. Ronnie, did you have anything else you want to take another 3 minutes? Because we are now at 1 hour, 33 minutes into this delicious Sunday dinner. Unbelievable how the Father comes right in and just gives us a good word and a good lesson all the time. What have you got to add? And I'll go ahead and say goodnight to everybody, and I'll put their statements here on the screen.
Yeah, I'm just saying that this is really heavy. This is a very heavy tool. This thing called in the English what we call prayer. It's a very heavy tool, so we don't want to take it lightly. You don't want to just go swinging this around. because you're going to be held to it. You're going to be held to it. This is I can't iterate enough. I can't reiterate enough. This is the last. This is, you have to come in having counted every single cost before you come to a negotiating table with your creator. You better be on point. That's all I'm saying. and you better be ready to hand over what you have vowed. Because he requires it. He will require it of us. He's gonna, lightly or whatever. He's gonna be like, okay, so I gave you, I handled my end of the bargain. What, why are you coming short?
Why's his hair gone? Why'd you cut his hair, Hannah?
And of course, that implies that he was a Melchizedek.
Yes.
He was clearly a
from the order of Melchizedek.
Yeah, I would definitely like to say so. Outside, extra biblically, if you will.
Yeah.
But how can you ever anoint a king unless you're of a higher order? That's all I'm going to say on that. But we'll discuss that at another time.
I love it. Well, I so appreciate my brother Ronnie for spending. I only had him for an hour, you guys. And we could go on 4 hours. Y'all already know he's only scratched the surface. This always happens. But I just want to tell you, thank you so much, brother, for you and for Sonia coming in tonight and just, helping us to get a little closer to what we need to know, to what we need to understand. Everything we need to know.
That you never knew.
That you never knew that you need to know. Okay. So I just appreciate you for that, brother. And I just want to thank each and every one of you all for being here with us. And I want to remind everybody what we say on this program all the time. And that is, that man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of the Most High Yah. You guys take care of yourselves and take care of one another. Be blessed. To receive instant notification each time I upload, please hit the subscribe button and the bell notification.
Helping you along the way, helping you to make it through another day.